Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, I got like that bright yellow mucus right now. Actually, it's getting a little darker. I'm already getting rid of it, I think. Got a little bit of a cold. I haven't had a cold in a long time. But we're going to wait for some people to join before I... Oh, there we go. We already got 2 people. Smash that like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Oh, if you're in here already, you've already subscribed. Now I'm subscribing. Way, Joan, Rod James, James the Rod, Mahatmas, the hell, Malik, forgive me guys if I sound a little nasally. I got a little bit of a cold. I just hope I don't give it to my wife and my daughter. That's why I'm trying to stay away from the baby, not so much today. But we should be able to do a live stream later too. I got a little bit of better schedule organization now. I'm getting everything straight. I had to deal with some court stuff yesterday, but I have to go back actually in October, so it's not all even done. We have to finish it later on, so at least I don't have that deal with that stress for another month or, well, actually no, yeah, a little less than a month, but it was stressing me out. The days, weeks up to it, because not just I'm dealing with that, but I'm dealing with all sorts of spiritual obligations and missions that I've come here to do, and you all have come here to do, and most of you have been completely disconnected from your dream time, your spirit time, your alpha, who you really are inside. And you know, most people just maybe once a day or twice a day catch a little glimpse, a little fainting thought, you know, a passing quick thought of who you are in the other realms, who you are in the other dimensions of your brain. Malik, oh yeah, wait, yeah, I did send you that. That ancient piece I gave you is powerful, right? Very ancient. I sent one to Masaki the other day. He just got it yesterday, last night. He even said, wow, this is powerful. It packs a punch just for a little piece like that, you know. Kyanite's the same way. You know, you got the 2 things that are really strong, the kyanite and the other little ancient surprise. So what's awesome is, though, I think the cold is actually leaving me already. It's actually it's coming out already, because it went from being that like bright color music to now it's like getting darker. So when that happens, it's like coming out of your body. But I don't want to waste any more time. Let me get to it, because since I've been doing readings on people, and I had to take a break for the last 2 weeks from doing readings, but I'm back alive again doing readings. So I know I have to do one. I have one booking with Jessica that I got to do, and then after that I'm completely free for readings. So if you guys want to book readings, I'm free for readings. I have crystals, I have tensor tools available, all of that. Ever since I started doing readings on a larger scale, because I used to do them for friends and family, right? Once I decided to go public with doing radio talk shows and radio shows and all of this, which was like maybe 4 or 5 years ago, maybe something like that. I've always been me, you know, and you know, it's sort of like a secretive, hereditary thing to talk about. So, you know what? I did do a few radio shows in the earlier 2000s, but it was more towards kickboxing and Muay Thai and things like that. So, but we were talking about the spiritual side of Muay Thai and the spiritual side of martial arts. So that was like the first. But then I started doing more of the esoteric, paranormal things like that, because certain people in California were aware of some of my experiences and some of the things that have happened to me out there, and it was like a local legend, you know, in the area. So eventually I was contacted by Nick Redfern, who's like a person who investigates Men in Black sightings, this, that, all over there. And I spoke to him on his house phone. I think he was living in Texas or at the time. I don't know if he still lives there. But he called me, and this was like 8 years ago now, 7 or 8 years ago. And he asked me about my encounter with the man who manifested and like offered me a deal, contract. It was like, just come with us. You could play in my bar. You could play in my the band I'm making. Just come with me and say yes. And it was like, there's a whole story behind it. I don't want to go into it. But I told him no. I denied him, and his eyes started glowing red, and he disappeared. And this was at basically at midnight in Long Beach, right on the 33rd parallel, and right in outside. I think it's like 5th and Pine, near 5th and Pine or 4th and Pine, where it happened, on the side street right there. And I was just leaving a store called No Regrets, and shout out to the No Regrets family out there. I think they only have an online store, but at one time they had 3 stores in Long Beach. They had one on Pine, they had one on Long Beach Boulevard, they had one somewhere else. I know the owners really well, Gerardo, Sergio, his brother, and Gerardo's girl's Vicky, and they have a local band in Long Beach, California called Heavenly Trip to Hell. It's popular. It's like I don't know, they're like they're not a bad band, but they're like a weaker version of Ministry, or something like that. They're not, it's basic shit. It's not like they're doing all intricate stuff, or, and the vocals, the guy, he's just yelling out like political stuff. He's not really singing or anything, but it's all right. I mean, they're all right. Sergio, one of the brothers, he does like tattoos and piercings and stuff. Gerardo calls himself Gerardo Christ, and Vicky, his girl's Vicky Vicious. They're like a sort of like an electronic metal punk band, something like that, I guess you could call it. They're not bad. They're not bad people, but they owned the store that I used to pass out flyers for and get people to come in. I used to play my guitar in front of the store and get paid for it. Not really by them too much, but like I used to make money. They let me play in front of the store, and I used to make money that way. Sometimes they would hit me off for promoting their store and stuff too. So it happened right outside that store in the alley on the next street. And afterwards, there was actually a friggin' a black stain on the spot that it happened, and it looked like a tarantula was hammered down, like Thor came out of the sky and hammered down a huge tarantula, because there was like a black stain where the guy was standing right in front of where I was sitting, and it went out like it had spider legs. It was friggin' weird. But so anyway, I got a little sidetracked and stuff, but I gotta get water. What's very interesting is that the spiritual wars that we're taking place in right now, it is the final battle. You can go back 4 or 5 years to my shows I was doing on Leak Project many, many years ago, because some people are here because they've seen me on Leak Project recently, but I was on Leak Project way before, years before, like 4 or 5 years ago first. So you guys could check that out. I mean, he even has me on his website, probably as my either Ralphie Castaldo or Raw Castaldo, but just type in Castaldo or whatever, and I'll come on the Lead Project website or whatever other websites that's associated with that. You can find some of those old interviews I did, not just on Lead Project, but like dozens of other shows, radio shows. I was talking about how we are entering the final battle. And even my buddy Leo Zagami, who me and Leo are going to be doing a show on his YouTube soon. He's going to be coming on my show again on Truth Frequency Radio. Leo's a good buddy of mine. We have similar backgrounds, similar DNA, and it's always a pleasure to talk to him. But we're going to be talking about near-death experiences on his show and Italian secret societies. What's up, Mark? Who else is in the chat room? What's up, Mark? What's going on? Yeah, anytime, Malik. So, ever since I started doing, this is what I was getting at before I got sidetracked. Ever since I was doing psychic readings on a more larger scale, and I started doing all these radio show interviews, and people started to get to know me more around the world, which is very interesting because I'm friggin' poor, and people know me all over the world for being a well-respected psychic and reader and researcher, and I'm freaking poor. So I guess the two don't translate together sometimes, because there's other people out there that are in the same field as me that are living pretty good because of it. I just don't know how. Like jokes too, like David Sereda, that dude is bullshit. He's a complete joke. He's probably a junkie too, and that dude is living pretty large. He's even got Dan Aykroyd mentioning him on the Joe Rogan podcast, I heard. So, you know, people like that, I don't know. They must have sold their souls in some sort of way to be blowing up like that. Or maybe it's just they got lucky or something, because, I don't know. It seems like the true ones, they get sort of like covered. You know, people try to block them from doing it, and they send out interdimensional soldiers. They try to summon through their giving up their blood and giving up their energy and selling themselves energetically, astrally, and physically to try to gain powers and gain riches, because there's so many evil forces out there during this final battle. And this final battle, it's coming to a point where we're going to see some crazy things coming up on our world in this next year or so. And like we've already seen the people, and like even Leo was saying it the other night, this artificial intelligence that is coming over us, it is like Leo calls it the cyber Satan, right? It's another energetic layer, a duplicate of what we're supposed to be, bringing us to a higher dimension. That other layer coming around us is supposed to bring us to a higher plane of existence. But instead, we're getting a replicator version coming over us and interfacing with us. And if we don't conform, we might be able to prolong it for a little while, us spiritual ones, but eventually, if it progresses to the point where it's trying to, we will be forced to conform. We will be forced to link into the system. And what's very interesting is my dreams the other night and my travels the other night, because this is the Ember Days season. These are the Ember Days, and there's another very strong Ember Days coming in you know, December seasons as well. And during these Ember Days, the battles are intense, and most people are not aware of what's happening in the spiritual realms. And the other night, I shared it a little bit the other day, but let me get into it real quick, and then before I go, this is just for a personal experience I'm sharing that was in my dreams. So people could take it or leave it. You know, people don't realize what actually dreams are. This is you at your spiritual side. This is you traveling out night. Your body is pretty much dead when you're sleeping, and your spirit is at work. There's a reason why you heal at night. There's a reason why your body heals at night, because your spirit is working towards it. and things that you encounter in the other realms. What's up, Andy? Well, you know what? The thing is that our timeline could have been manipulated in the chat room. That in 2012, something might have been altered through CERN and other technology companies out there that we don't really know about. So right now, we might be coming up to 2012 in 2020. Our timeline might have been changed. We might have been put into some sort of loop that it's highly possible, okay? And this is when CERN was coming online and doing some big things in 2012. All right, it's not a coincidence. So there's a great possibility that in 2020, we're actually going into 2012, that we were put in some sort of time loop. And there is something that surrounds our space-time, our physical realm, and it's controlling us. It's coming over us like a net, and it's a very super intelligent quantum force. So Flora Broom, I've heard that name before, I think. And what's up, Laureen? Why did I have heard that name before? I'm not sure. I've heard it before. Maybe I saw it on Patreon, somebody's name. I don't know. I've seen that name before. I don't know if I followed somebody that name. I don't know. I've seen that name before, though. I have no clue who it is, though, Laureen. That name you just said? She's on YouTube? Okay, no, I never seen her before. But I'll check it out. But so let me let you guys know that this, and I can't share. If I knew the people that are in my astral wars, even if I did recognize them, I would never be able to talk about it. It's the same thing as being a hereditary Benindante or hereditary Strega. You could talk about yourself, but you're not supposed to talk about other people's that you may encounter in these times. And because we all have tribes that we're connected to, spiritual tribes, for sure. And there's no doubt there's different zones, different quadrants in the spiritual realms, in all of the dimensions. Just like you have clans and groups of people that hang together here in the physical realm, it's the same way in the spiritual realms. All right, so it's the same way. You have groups, you have clans, you have tribes. And when they're working collectively, they could be very powerful. And in the spiritual realms, they're all linked in a different sort of telepathic communication way. And the other night, I was sharing a little bit. Hey, Blue Angel, what's up? What's up, Lynn? What's up, brother? Salisa, what's up, Lynn? That's my brother right there. So the other night, I want to talk about what I encountered, because I'm not sure whether I encountered a physical tribe of voodoo that is somehow connected to refugees that are coming out of Africa or other places right now in this time, or I encountered something from a prior timeline or past timeline, because I'm trying to figure it out. But I encountered something pretty intense the other night, and it was a group of really dark-skinned African American people, black people, and their eyes were this like almost the same color as the water. It was like a bluish green, like Aruba type water or something like that. And their eyes were really strikingly, and their face and their eyes had the expressions that they were cannibals, like that they were hungry for blood. I mean, you ever see like the insane look of Kali Ma, of the Hindu goddess Kali, that she's like, her eyes are just crazed with blood? That's what their face expressions look like. And Um, Now I can't really talk about to. Oh wow, Laureen, thank you so much. I probably won't get it till next month because you have to actually get like 100. I don't know. I think YouTube screwed me because I had so many donations this month, and they say my balance is only $74. You only get paid if it's $100 every month. But I gotta call. I'm gonna call them actually today. But thank you so much, Laureen. Thank you so much. If people want to donate to my PayPal, if you want to donate to my PayPal, that's probably the best place. But right here on YouTube's all right too. If that's the only place that you want to do it. But I have a PayPal link. Most of my videos will have a PayPal link in it, and of course on my website, themysticalspiral.com. But Laureen, thank you so much. You are a true amazing person, and we're sending you another package soon. This week I'm sending out some more stuff. So no, it's okay, Laureen, you're good. um uh so I have done exorcisms before. I have helped out with exorcisms. I've been even contacted by the Catholic Church before. um so people in my line have done exorcisms, have helped out with exorcisms. uh there are evil creatures, plasmic entities that embed within your genetic code, within your aura, if you want to say. I don't even know if a genetic code would be the right word. Within your aura, within your bioenergetic field. And so I have protection at all times. You know, I have uh, I'm aware once you become listen, once you become aware of the dark forces on this planet and that they exist, that they're not just a myth, and once you're aware of what's out there, they don't have so much power anymore. It's when they have all the power when you don't even know they're there, and they could just absently, I don't know if that's the right word either. If they can just feed, and you go about your day just thinking that normal things are going wrong, or this is happening or that's happening, when you don't realize it's a spiritual attack, or it's a spiritual sickness in some way. And what I encountered the other night was truly intense, and I believe I was taking place. Uh, well, I definitely was, but I believe that it wasn't just me on a prior timeline. I was actually being involved in some sort of dream healing session. I had to get in the statue of what was like the Isis statue with the arms out, with that like bird arm statue. And it looked a little bit different than Isis, but it was like a similar gold statue like that. It was very gold and blue. And when I got in the statue, there was all sorts of like Nubian type headed people with that headdress on, and their heads looked like it was rounded at the back, and it was bigger than normal people's heads. And they were all coming up towards the statue, and they had these bowls of white, I don't know if it was white milk or white whatever, and there was a feline type lion creature like sitting up on his back, like sitting on his butt with his paws out. It was almost like a regular lion would sit, kind of. Shit, my phone is dying. Hold on. So it was like a regular lion would like sit, and they were plucking the hairs off the feline and putting it in the bowl of the bowls, you know, and it was mixing it. And this is very like uh, an ancient Isis ritual, even. It's very similar to some of the stuff that I've researched. Because after I had this dream, I was looking up stories about Isis that I have. I have like one thing I do have, guys, that you would really love is archives like you wouldn't believe. I have close to 1,000 books, some very, very old that's been passed down, some new, and I have a lot of items, like shamanistic items that I've been collecting and my family has been collecting for many, many years. So this is like, I have archives. So like when you hear information that I have, it's not, I'm not getting it off the computer at all. I mean, people that know me, they'll tell you I have an endless archive of books and notes and everything that I go and look into, and I dive into them. So when I have any sort of encounter or experience in the spiritual realms, I can do sometimes hours and hours of digging until I find something that is almost the same thing. It's like, whoa, then it's crazy, it blows my mind. And so I was doing this, and I think it's because I do live with a cat now. See, I'm a dog person, but my wife is a cat. They're cat people, her family. So right now, I'm staying with some family members, and there's a cat in the house, right? So I feel that my spirit was doing this dream healing session, and they were healing me of my cat. I feel in another lifetime, ancient Egypt probably, because of what was taking place, that I used some sort of ritual, or I was interacting with some sort of feline being, and it was not too good. Something didn't happen well, and now it led to me all these incarnations later to still have some sort of allergy to certain felines. And I'm sure that certain cats will just have a hint of that ancient race that I once contacted. And I was doing some sort of healing session, then all of a sudden I came. I wasn't in the statue anymore. Like I got pulled out of it, and then the next thing I remember is I'm standing on the shore, like a beach or an island or something, where there's water in front of me and land behind me. So I was staring at the water, and then I looked back at the land, and I started to walk towards the land, and then all of a sudden I heard stuff coming at me. So I turned around, and there was all these black people walking on the side, and like a little canoe boat, like a little type of boat, that's almost like a little, that there's no top on it or anything. It's just like a little boat where 4 or 5 people or 12 people maybe at most can be in it while they paddle. It was one of those boats. It was coming up onto the shore, and there was actually people walking around it too, like circling all around it. And they were coming at me, and they had that crazed blood look on their face. Crazed blood, like they wanted to eat me type stuff. And their eyes were so bluish green, it was almost enchanting. Like I felt like I was gonna get stuck there. And they were surrounding me, and I guess I yelled out in my dream because my wife woke me up. But right when she woke me up, I remember they had vials around their neck, and some of them were holding something. And it was like something that's imprinted in my mind. For right when I woke up, I was thinking about it. I was freaking out. And when they went to grab me and grab my arms, and they were raising up the vial or raising up a little bottle or something, and like they were going to probably try to stuff it down my throat, make me drink it. And I started to vibrate. I remember like I felt the vibration. I felt like an electricity, blah, blah, blah. I was vibrating, and that's when I woke up. And I was freaked out. I was like, oh my God. And I was like, let me rewind for a second before I go. Before that even happened, in my dream, I felt like I had a burn or something, and I did have a fever when I woke up. Like I had a fever or a burn in my dream, and I remember I was going into that statue because I felt like it was going to heal my burn or my fever, and that was the original thing that I thought. And then all of a sudden I saw this cat hair stuff going on and things like this. So it did. I forgot all about that part. So I have it all written down, but I only recalled a little bit. That it sounds like a long story, but it was only like a little bit of remembrance. And you leave yourself embedded little triggers sometimes if you make a conscious decision to remember what happened in dream time, and you'll get like a trigger. So like when you wake up, you might hear a certain word or see something, and it'll trigger the remembrance of the dream. So that's yourself doing that. That's yourself embedding some sort of symbol trigger for you to remember in dream time. Because most people, they don't realize what's taking place when they're sleeping. And sleeping, who you are in spirit, who you are in meditation, who you are in the higher realms of your brain is your true self. Remember that. This is what's happening to you on this physical body. What's happened to you on this physical body is a reflection of what's taking place in your spiritual side, in your higher dimensional brain. It's like a domino effect. So this is just fallout. Your physical body is cosmic fallout to your star body. All right? So remember that. And that's why I have a cold right now too in Skype. My body's getting rid of something. I was doing some sort of dream time healing and I was attacked as well. And you're very vulnerable in dream time. No one is reading what? Let me see. I'm reading it. I just was talking. Lorene, you saw Illyrian? It might be Illyrian, man. I'm running out of battery. I have like 3% left, so I was trying to get out the. I'm reading it. You know, they do say that Lyra's a feline race, things like this from other, but people think of it as other planetary beings. It's interdimensional. All right, these are interdimensional, hyperdimensional beings. So you could call them extraterrestrials if you want, but they're actually in the higher dimensions of your higher dimensional brain. And the network that we see outside as physical, like all the planets and everything, that is outside of the higher dimensional network. This is where people come for work and lessons and for mining. This is for our physical realm, where we see other planets and everything that's physical matter. It's made. These are materials that assist things in the spiritual realms. All right. Each realm was added on for a different reason, and we are here to pick up the pieces of what once took place. And the only way we can pick up the pieces of who we are is remembering who we are first. And thank you everybody for coming. Laureen, thank you for donating. That is awesome. Thank you for supporting me. I love you guys all. Let me see if there's any other questions before I go. What's up, Lolly Loving? Did he create reality realm? Oh, is that? Did he? Do I know somebody? Did he? I don't know. Yeah, it's wild shit. Wild stuff. No, the cat. See, the cat was just sitting there on a podium, a pedestal or a podium, a little platform. He was sitting there on a little, like it was a column with a little flat base. I mean, that doesn't make sense. It was like a column that goes up and then a little flat thing on top of the column, and it was sitting on that flat thing, like a little podium. I don't know what it was called, pedestal. And it was sitting there like in position, and there was these people coming around with a bowl, and they would pluck the cat hair off the main, like off the neck part, and drop it in the bowl. And what's very interesting is that if you look into ancient Isis, there's a similar ritual that they do. It's I gotta find it again, but I did read something, and what I didn't get to that we'll talk about later is Khonsu the Exorcist, and he was one of the moon gods of ancient Egypt. In fact, the comic book from Marvel, Moon Knight, is based on that character, and he appears sometimes as a hawk, a hooded hawk. I think I just heard the hawk too. My hawk spirit guide is around here. It's like a hawk falcon type creature, and this is what Khonsu turns into as well. And he has many different versions of who he is. One of these versions is the demon expeller, the exorcist.